Now there's a lot to be said for quirky cars. We love them. It's in our name. Although fun, they're not always the most practical. Think of the P50. Then there's this, with its retro styling and K-car characteristics, the Suzuki Ignis. Welcome to Planet Auto. Now we've been dying to get our hands on one of these on review for quite a while.
And it's been well worth the wait. It's as quirky as it has ever been. Black plastic arching makes it off-roady, and I am a fan of this new facelift, especially with the grille.
There are 3 trims in the range to choose from: the SZ3, the SZT and the SZ5. Prices for the range start at £13,999. We have the SZ5 all-grip manual, which is just over £17,500, but with options like we have, is just under £18,500.
Now the interesting thing is, Suzuki have dropped all their engines except one, the 1.2 hybrid. So you get that in all the trims, and then it's the specs and features that vary. We really do think it looks the part with its black A-pillars, black roof and black alloys.
And we love this khaki colour, don't we?
Yeah, especially with all the chrome. If you'd like to keep up to date with the latest automotive news and car reviews, please subscribe to the channel. And if you found this review helpful, please give us a like and also share to anybody who's in the market for one of these.
And if you've got any comments or questions about the car, please leave them in the section below. Thank you. The Ignis first appeared in the UK in 2017, and this is the facelift model. And the biggest difference that you'll see is with the grille and the bumper. It's got the 5 segments, which make it really stand out and is part of the DNA of Suzuki's design language. And it also reminds me a bit of the Jimny, which I love. The bumper is much more rugged and it gives it an off-road feel. The shaping and the style on the lights is the same, as is the chrome surround, and you've got LED daytime running lights, LED lights, the automatic, and they come with auto leveler too. And you've got front fogs. They've kept the clamshell bonnet from the previous generation and put that together with the black roof, the silver roof rails, and you've got these little design keels here, the black and here. It really combines with the khaki paint, which is a new colour, to make it really stand out. And when you put it together with the black A and B pillar, it gives it this nice urban, ruggedy, off-roady look. There's lots of safety features on this car, including cruise control with speed limiter and lane keep assist, to name but a few. Because we have the SZ5, we have these 2 cameras up here, which are the dual camera brake support system. Very handy. We've got 16-inch alloy wheels fitted, but the SZ3 comes with 15-inch steel wheels. And a design feature is this black wheel arch cladding. We have electrically operated heated door mirrors, and as we have the SZ5, they come with the side repeater. I like the fact that they've kept this from the previous generation. The window shape follows the line of this rear design. WizKid, anyone? You've got vented disc brakes at the front, and interestingly, you've got drums on the back. Now the back is as quirky as the front, and in fact very little has changed. It too has a new bumper. Even the rear lenses are the same as the previous gen. When you look at the car from the rear, you can see the K-car characteristics that I talked about earlier. But it does really flare out over the rear arches, giving it that aggressive off-roady look. The badge tells you it's an Ignis with a nice Suzuki badge in the middle, prominent high-level brake light in the rear window, and a bee sting aerial. Badges here remind you that it's a hybrid, and you can only get the all-grip with the SZ5 trim. We don't have any parking sensors fitted on this car, but the reversing camera really does kind of take care of this, and it's only a small car anyway.
Let's see how easy it is to get into the new Ignis. I can unlock it using the key fob, or I can use the keyless entry. It's got a decent raised ride height, so that should make it nice and easy to get in. Nice wide door opening. That was nice and easy. One thing to note, I do not have a grab handle up here. Also, if the door's fully open, then it is a bit of a stretch. So just keep it somewhere like that. The Suzuki Ignis is such an interesting car. Everything from the colour inserts through to the premium style materials. Yes, there's no getting away from these really hard plastics, but that makes it easier to maintain. And some of the construction, well, but you have to remember this vehicle starts at under £14,000, and for that I think it's great value. The 3 lines are reflected here. You get all grip, you get descent control, you also get things like dual camera brake support. They've really stepped up their game. You've got all round electric windows and electrically adjusted mirrors. Now they are supposed to power fold, but can I find that button? No! To the right side of the steering wheel, we've got an engine start stop button and some other shortcut buttons, and also we've got start stop as well, so great for city driving. Above that, some buttons to operate the little fuel computer. On the right of the wheel, you can operate your windscreen wipers. There are no rain sensing wipers on this model. You've also got automatic headlamps as well. Moving to the steering wheel, media controls on the left and telephony, and on the right we have cruise control. The cluster's nice and simple. I think it looks quite funky too. Nice silver trim. To the left hand side, rev counter. In the centre, your speedo. Moving to the infotainment screen, got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, DAB radio, and even satellite navigation. You can also set some of the car's settings as well. And another great feature, it doubles as a reversing camera. Below that you've got your hazard lights and then your air conditioning. As I mentioned before, I do love this funky style. I like this switch gear as well. Got some shortcut buttons, things like front windscreen demister and direction of vents, etc. Below that, a little flip cap for your 12 volt. Also, this button is really important. This is where you activate your oil grip. You've also got descent control, and you can also disable things like your lane keep assist. And to the right hand side, a USB and auxiliary port too. We've got the 5-speed manual. We've also got an old school handbrake with hill start assist. Due to the vehicle's dimensions, I've got way more headroom than you'd expect in a car of this size. I've also got lots of legroom as well. It's a manually operated seat. It's nice and comfortable, and the bolster's quite supportive too. There is a bit of flex, but that adds to comfort. The one thing I have noticed is I don't think they're quite as wide as some cars, but neither's the vehicle. Annabelle really loves this tactile feel of the upholstery. I think blacks and creams really work in a car. Steering wheel, well, you've got height adjustment, but there is no reach adjustment. I've got a decent sized door bin with a nice recess at the front. Moving to the centre, decent storage point with 2 cup holders, and extra storage behind the gear stick. You have a quirky storage solution up here and a small glove box. Let's see how easy it is to get into the rear. The raised ride height should really help. And the door opens nice and wide too. Now, one thing I have noticed, at being 6'3", I really have to duck my head. We've also got no grab handle. Like the front, it is a little bit of a stretch for the door as well. Once in the back, I've actually more room than I expected. Yeah, my hair does brush, but it's feeling extremely floofy today for some reason. Now, if I sit fully back, my eye line is here, but if I assume a more comfortable position, then I do have visibility out the window, which is something that did concern me, the fact that I had to crane my head so much to get in the back. But the bottom line is, this is a small car. You expect that kind of thing. Legroom, again, not bad, considering I've got it set for a lavish 6'3" in the front. So if I pull the seat forward just a bit, then I would be able to keep my legs like that. I can also get my feet under the seat. It is a decent wide area down here as well. They're comfortable seats, and they do exactly what they say on the tin. It's a nice fabric, and 2 people on a long journey, be nice and comfortable. You can also adjust the rear seats. Pull up this lever here, and there's varying positions. You can also recline and incline the seat too. We've also got isofix points here. It actually feels quite light and airy, considering you've got privacy glass. But most of that is due to the fact that you've got a nice light headliner. It would be cool to see a sunroof though. One interesting thing is, there's one grab handle on this vehicle, and for some reason it's over the passenger front. Just makes me wonder why there aren't any more around the vehicle. The door cards are simple. I think that's the only way I can put it. You've got an electric window, but it would have been nice to see dashes of colour. And there is a small armrest here. Would have been nice to see it padded. And it's interesting to see you've got a map pocket here, but not here. I also have a nice storage point in the middle as well. It would have been nice to see a USB down there, but you don't really expect it. Opening the boot is nice and easy. There is no release on the key fob though. Once open, 206 litres of space. Realistically, it's a small car, so you get a small boot. You'll easily get a suitcase in there, some bags, and your weekly shop. Now you do have quite a bit of a boot lip. A false floor would really come in handy, especially when you drop the seats, because there is a fair old lip here. Now I don't really know if this is supposed to increase your room or if it's just a happy accident, but if you slide your seats forward, you've actually got some extra storage area there for things like sleeping bags. And when you drop the seats, that increases to just under 1100 litres, and it's nice and easy to drop the seats. You've also got top tether points. There are no shopping bag hooks, but you do have a light, and there's a recess here for a 12 volt too. Also, if you lift up the carpet, you've got an inflation kit and some of your tools. Welcome aboard the Suzuki Ignis! The quirky car with a nice ride height.
It's great, isn't it?
It is. Under the bonnet, we've got a punchy 1.2 16 valve dual jet engine, coupled to an electric motor. Now, there is no pure EV mode in this car, but it helps with starting, and it also smooths out the drive as well. It gives you power where basically a turbo would have helped.
And it's got a new lithium-ion battery in it, so instead of the 3 AH that you've got on the previous model, it's now 10 AH.
That's going to make quite a bit of difference. Talk about quirky cars.
Yeah.
I would. Now, handling, it's perfectly stable and feels really good as long as you're not flooring it. If you start flooring it around bends, you will get body roll. But it makes perfect sense because it's got K car characteristics, meaning it's thin and tall. Woo. Lane departure warning. So you've got lots of safety on here as well, including up here a dual camera brake support system. And
Now that's natty, isn't it?
I was going to say, it's quite intelligent, isn't it?
It is. And it's fitted as standard on the SZ5 as well. And it's a 3-tier system. If they sense a possibility of a collision, there will be an alert on the trip computer, which will increase to a buzzer. If you can tell it's going to be a collision, it's going to anchor up.
That's it, isn't it? It seems to be a clever system, whereas if you get to the point where it thinks, uh-oh, it will increase your braking pressure too. So if you're braking and it thinks, you're not going to actually make that, I'm going to add a bit of brake. Suspension overall is very comfortable. It just gobbles up bumps and potholes. It doesn't seem to notice unless they're really bad. It's grippy enough to say spirited driving, as long as you're not really pushing it, but also comfortable enough to offer your passengers a nice, well-balanced drive, shall we say?
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
Being in second gear then, and just putting your foot down, you could feel how the hybrid system assisted you with acceleration. It was far smoother than it would be with just the engine alone. You can also see that, and what else it's doing through this little fuel computer here on this display. It's telling us we've got 3 bars of battery left. The braking on this, to aid that hybrid system, you have like a moderate regen braking.
So you're recouping
Look at
battery
that.
power?
Well, that's what it's braking now. It's not me, it's the car. And it'd be interesting to see if it stops or if it just
creeps. We're in creep mode.
I think it creeps.
You get to see
And interestingly, it doesn't stall.
That's a really handy thing to know.
You can have a lot of fun in this car, you really can.
Well, I certainly have. So I've driven it quite a lot this past week.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
Yeah, it's smooth steering and it's direct as well. The only place I've noticed where it does get a little bit sketchy is if you basically rag it one way to swerve for something, then you will get quite a bit of body roll, but it still feels under control. It just,
I was about to say, it still
lean a bit.
It does do the job though.
Doing this, it's fine, but see, feels under control. It just makes the cabin wobble a bit.
But you still feel very well planted in your seat, don't you?
Yeah, well that's it. I can drive this, you know, at shall we say spirited speeds on a back road. It feels under control, you know. Suzuki Swift.
Yeah.
Nice smooth takeoff. This is 5-speed manual as well, but you can get a CVT. You can only get the all grip on the manual, isn't that right, Annabelle?
That is correct. And only on the SZ5.
As for the gearbox, it does what it says on the tin. It's just a nice simple 5-speed box. It's not particularly notchy, but at the other end of the scale, it's not the most refined either. But it's not what I call playing the gear stick, so yeah, win-win. One thing to note, do not rely on the regen braking to brake going down a hill. It will work, but only to a point. Steering feels nice and direct. Good feedback as well. Nice response. Does the lane keep assist? It's a pretty good system too. Gives you a nice little warning saying that. And let's go into this corner and see. We're in third gear in a 40. Yeah, that was dead on 40. Handled it with ease. Little bit tyre rumble, but we're on a bad road. Refinement in the cabin is quite good.
Well, this facelift model has actually had some extra work done to make the noise less in the cabin.
Things like reducing the engine vibration, sound and so on in the...
Yeah, and more insulation, that kind of thing, and it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Visibility is great, you've got a nice big windscreen, and the side windows add to that.
Yeah, even in fourth gear at 40, if I put my foot down, you feel the difference to, say, just a petrol engine. It does make a difference. We're using the engine, but if I back off and let the regen work, you can see it's putting power back into the battery. Now I'm in fifth gear, and I'm going to literally crawl it. And it's not jerking, and that's remarkable. You would expect the car to start lurching forwards and backwards, but it doesn't stall either. That's interesting. Getting up to speed nice and easy, so let's put our foot down. That's 14 that time, so A roads.
Plenty of pep, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice little punchy engine. You do notice a difference with a hybrid system added. It does make it breathes life into older engines, or these newer variants, should I say, that have had to be throttled down due to EU regulations, lower CO2 and so on. One thing to note, and I thought initially this was a bad idea, they've reduced it from 1242 to 1197. It gets up to 60 in a relatively decent speed. It's not the fastest, but it's not the slowest either. But it'll happily cruise along at motorway speeds without any problem. You will have a little bit of power. Now, you can't just drop a gear and floor it, because obviously the power's not going to be there, but with the addition of the hybrid system, you do notice. If you're willing to, you'll get to 30 in next to no time. And it sounds cool as well. I like growly engines. As long as it's not under heavy load, it's a nice refined engine. Now, this is quite a steep hill. We're in third gear at 25 miles an hour. Can I go for fourth? No, doesn't like fourth. But it'll climb it in third. Now, normally I would say an engine of this size would be struggling. But yet again, there's a hybrid system helping out. Now, everybody who watches this channel knows my main aim when I get into a car is to see how fast I can drive it and what that economy is going to be. And 9 times out of 10 it's around 25, 30, regardless of car. On this, I just can't do it. I've tried, I really have. I've been driving it rather spiritedly, throwing it around bends and all types of things, and I can still get 50.7 to the gallon.
Wow.
Yeah. They made this originally back in 2017, and it had a hybrid system then, but they've just worked on that and made it better.
And they've managed to reduce the emissions for CO2 as well.
One thing I was wondering about was the headlamps, because they're auto leveling. Now, not every auto leveling system works very well. Sometimes it's too low, or sometimes it's too high. With me driving this, it seemed to be pretty much spot on in everything I did. They're also automatic too. I was going to say, where we've driven to is perfect, isn't it? But what we're going to mention next, all grip. So this is all-wheel drive, so if you press your all grip button down here, you've also got descent control. But it then engages four-wheel drive, and you can kind of play around in big puddles like this. turning circle's not bad, but it is a small car, and like the Jimny, it may be tall and high, but it doesn't feel ungainly when going through water and rocky terrains. It's very well composed, isn't it?
It is. All in all, it offers an engaging drive, doesn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it's surprising what a 1.2 will do, actually.
Yeah, because there's plenty of punch in this.
Yeah, you've got enough power to get you out of trouble. Yes, if you're wanting to go fast, you will be at the red line most of the time, but it doesn't even feel like it's pushing it. It might be a little bit noisy up there, but
there's no strain on it.
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't sound like it's being hammered. It just sounds revvy, which I like.
An affordable, ultra-compact SUV with more practicality than you'd think, and the SZ5 is NCAP 5. It offers great economy, and there's a noticeable difference with the hybrid upgrades. There's lots to love, and it may just surprise you.